Now, the reason I don't really want to go too much into the story, just kind of break it down to you, because I thought I was done with this. I was on a whole different message. We were ready to go into some other things. But God is keeping me right here because somebody needs to know tonight that you know what David knew. And you do what David did. You know what you do? You pick up 5 stones. You don't realize tonight that you've picked up, you've chosen your weapon. But some of you just don't know that you have it, because it doesn't seem to be working, because you look at the story and you realize that David chose 5 but only used 1. You choose your stones, you pick your 5 stones, and you make really 5 decisions. You ever wonder why David took 5 stones to go fight? We're going to find out tonight. Why did he pick 5 stones to go fight? This man had spears and shields and armors and helmets. I mean, you could shoot him with a gun and wouldn't penetrate him. David chose 5 stones. Now, if we reread the story carefully, and I'm not going to reread the whole story, of course. You reread the story, it's right there. The answers are right there. And he starts to reveal the answers as to why David chose 5 stones and what those stones were. If you use your 5 fingers to remind you of the 5 stones, you'll see that you need those things to face your Goliath now. Okay, here we go. 5 fingers. Everybody will say to me, you have 4 fingers and a thumb. Tonight you got 5 fingers, okay? All right. Hold them up. Now let's get ready to count them down as you take your notes. Let's try to figure out. We're going to try to match a stone with a finger, because some of you may not get the stone part, but you get the finger part. All right, he chose 5. That's the 1. Put your thumb up like this. Okay, that's the 1. What's that 1 stone? What's the 1 stone that you need to take your giant down? Let your thumb remind you of the stone of the past. Let's put that over there. We're going to use that. All right, there it is over there. The 1 stone is the stone of the past. Now, you can put your thumb down. I'm impressed. You got it. So what happens here? Now, it looks like to me that Goliath did something. He jogged David's memory. This is deja vu for David. Am I going slow enough? While everybody else quivered, David remembered. You see, the reason a lot of us are panicking right now when trouble comes is you fail to remember. You got a stone that represents what's going on now. This is not your first fight. This is not your first attitude. This is not your first discouragement. This is not your first being disliked. This is not your first accusation. This is not the first dumb mistake you've made. This is not the first time you've been criticized. This is not the first time you've been put down. You've been here before. However, your giant will shake your memory. You don't even get to fight the giant until you've been through some tests before. Some of you hollering, bring on the giant. What for? He'll kick your behind. But if you've been in this fight before, you reach into your bag. You already got a rock for that one. He jarred his memory. God had given him before the strength, remember, to wrestle a lion. God had given him the strength and the strong arms to take out a bear. And now he's wondering, wouldn't he and can't he do the same thing with this giant? Put your thumb up and say, I've been here before. I've been through this before. Now, it scared you, it frightened you, it almost took you out, but you're still here. That stone represents your past. I don't mean to recall some of the bad memories for somebody. Listen, I don't mean to bring up any bad incidents. I really don't. I don't mean to make it sound as if, you know, you got to relive this again. But the key is, right now, you might be being angry about something that you've already been through before. You might be trying to relive a battle that you've already won before. And some of us are smart enough to say, now wait a minute, I've been through this thing before. Did you act like that before? If you acted like that before, realize that if you've been through it before, that means you obviously came out victorious because it didn't overtake you. So why now are you spending so much time back in that same valley if you've got a rock for that? You had to remember. 1 Samuel 17:34, David said to Saul, your servant used to keep his father's sheep, and a lion and a bear came and took a lamb out of the flock. I went out after it, and I struck it and delivered the lamb from the bear's mouth. And when it arose against me, I caught it by the beard, and I struck it and killed it. Your servant has killed both a lion and a bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine will just be like one of them, seeing he has defiled the armies of the living God. In other words, King, I know you think I'm too small, but my God is big. King, I got some stone to represent this. I've fought something like this before. As a matter of fact, watch this. What I fought before was bigger than who he is. I fought things with 4 legs. This dude ain't got but 2. A good memory makes heroes. I don't want everything to be a tweet. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, a good memory makes heroes. Sometimes I wonder, am I going to act like what I've already been through, because I know the pain that goes with this. I know the discomfort that goes with this. I know the attitude that goes with this, and I really, really, really don't want to go through this again. But if I do go through it, is there something about me that tells me I need a rock for it? A bad memory will make you a wimp. See, if you have forgotten what God has done, you're getting pitiful. And giants know that you're acting and getting pitiful. Because every time one of these things comes up that you need a rock for, you got a wimp attitude that represented. See, amnesia made a wimp out of me in the past before. I've been there. My Goliath would wake me up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning a few times. We were trying to build a building. I'll never forget it. I talk about it all the time. And this Goliath kept telling me that we didn't have the right people. We didn't have the right money. We didn't have the right finances. It was a bad economic time. We got this crazy idea of building some things that will, of course, start people laughing at you when you're talking about the vision God gave you. And the giant would wake me up just to ridicule me. You guys are crazy. You won't have enough money to do that. Goliath had me running for trees. I'm not telling you this story to tell you that I immediately fell on my knees and knew I had victory. I forgot about the victories that I had. I forgot that we came into the building we're in now after being frightened by Goliath. Sometimes after you go through a trauma, your body heals, your memory heals, you forget about it. I remembered, though, that like David was like a 9 to 2 odd. The story of David, see, he had already killed 2 things nobody knew about. We had already killed a bear in trying to find a place in Pleasant Grove. And we killed another bear trying to move over to Oak Cliff. That was 2 bears down. A bear and a lion. That's, you know, the score was 2-0. But this time, people that sounded intellectual, people that were closer to me, people who I understood, people that I thought I could trust, they started saying, this is not a good idea. Y'all don't get this yet. I'm just giving you some history. So I started to do what David did. I just stepped back away from people and I started to look at some victories that God and I had been through. See, there are some things that God and I had been through that I never talked about. And so I looked up and I see all these plaques and trophies that God had presented me with. Places that I've been and people that I've met and things that I've said or done that I knew could have wiped me out. I started looking at the victories. And that's when I would climb out of bed and walk around and pray a little bit and get a little nervous and then get excited. And I started to pull up things and write things down, started to make a list of all the lions and bears that I've conquered. Some of you, instead of keeping a diary, throw that junk in trash if it's got all the bad stuff you've done in it. You need to make you another diary starting tonight of all the bears and the lions that you have conquered. You got enough people in your life. You got enough junk on your Facebook and your Twitter accounts to show you of all the things that have defeated you. You need to start your own website in God tonight, telling the devil and showing the world how many lions and bears that you have already conquered. People would not believe the lions and bears that you have conquered. The reason they don't have faith that God will heal is because you won't talk about the lions and bears that you've already conquered.